We're starting a bit early today, Lottie.
It's living with you, isn't it, my love? 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm already on the bed.
Should be really champagne then, shouldn't it?
Lunchtime. It's lunchtime. So, well, it's not quite lunchtime, is it? It's sort of early lunchtime, but I'm being prepared for lunch. And I'm going to make, I fancy cheese on toast. You like a cheesy toasty thing? And cheese on toast is one of the most amazing things. It's simple, it's delicious. Cheese, bit of Worcestershire sauce, bubbling under the grill, lovely. And then I thought, rarebit, I haven't made a rarebit for ages. And there's a recipe in my book which is Leek pear and smoked salmon rarebit, which is really lovely on soda bread. Haven't got any pear, haven't got any smoked salmon, gone with a bit of leek and sweetcorn. Okay. But actually it's really lovely. I mean, I know some people are funny about sweetcorn, but we love it, don't we? We think it's delicious. And so what I've done in here is I've fried some leek in a little bit of butter with some sweetcorn, just tinned sweetcorn. And if you fry the sweetcorn and it's slightly browned, like it has done, oh, that's not it. There's a little bit I spotted. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, if it's slightly brown, it just goes really nutty and it's sort of a slightly deeper flavour. So it's really worth just frying that too with the leek. To that, I'm just going to toss in some parsley, so we've got some more colour in there, but also a little bit of fresh. Oops, I lost the beer then. Just toss in a little bit of more flavour, and I put a little bit of salt and pepper there as well. So that's the base, okay? That's the base, and that's going to be going on top of this soda bread, which I've toasted. Not soda bread, this is sourdough, which I made, didn't I?
You did?
Yeah, made it yesterday, little one. So I've toasted one side already, so that's going to be flipped over, and then all the mixture is going to be put on that, and that's going to go under the grill and be all bubbling and delicious. But I'm going to make the rarebit, and there are so many different recipes. The one in my book doesn't call for butter, sorry, it doesn't call for flour. It's just egg yolks and sugar and, no, egg yolks and cider and cheese. Sugar? Good.
So why have you got a big pot of flour there then?
Oh, because I'm doing it slightly differently, this one. So I've had a little play. So I thought I'm going to make one with flour and with butter. Make a roux of that, cook it, add the beer to it, whack in half a ton of cheese, then a bit of smoked paprika, Worcestershire sauce and mustard. Hello. So you're going to come over to the stove with me. Let this melt down. Flour. Your beer. Very good of you to sacrifice some of your beer. There will be a little bit left at the bottom which you can have if you're a very good boy. Just push my grill. Okay, so melt this down as you can see in the pan, and then I'm just going to add about that much flour, about a tablespoon of flour to the knob of butter, okay, which is going to thicken along with the cheese. Now, as I said, there are so many different ways of making it. Welsh rarebit is a wonderful dish. The English had the rabbit as well, English rabbit. It's a dish that crosses borders and is just as delicious the way I'm making it today, which is probably has some people up in arms going,
so where's the word rarebit come from?
Rabbit.
It does?
Rabbit.
So it used to be rabbit and cheese on toast?
No, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I used to know, sweetheart, because I used to be really hot on that, but then menopause struck, and I tell you what, I can't keep a thought in my head. I will look it up though, and when this film goes on Instagram, I shall pop it up on Instagram, the explanation for rabbit, okay? But it used to be called a rabbit. Right, beer, that's going in, so I'm making a sauce with beer, okay?
Oh, that
Now,
smells good.
I actually quite like it with cider as well, because sometimes beer can be a little bit bitter, and cider is less bitter. But we've got beer because we haven't got cider, like we haven't got smoked salmon. It's going to be lovely. So we're going to get this nice and thick, bubbling up, boiled, and then I'm going to toss
Oops.
the what, you lost me for a minute.
Yeah.
You're on there. Worcestershire sauce and mustard, English mustard. That's going to go in. I'm going to put that on the list, my darling, because look, it's gone. It's gone. All gone. A good slug of Worcestershire sauce goes in. Get some spice in there. Okay. And then we're going to put some mustard in. English mustard, of course. Goes in. A teaspoon. A little bit more beer, just a tiny bit. Boil it up again, and then we're going to start putting in lots of cheese, which you kind of grated. And this is actually a slightly smoked cheddar, isn't it, that we had in the fridge. So, just have a. Ooh, that's quite nice, and it's not bitter. So, cheese in. More. Take it off the heat, just add the rest of the cheese in there. So it's lovely and thick. Now, ideally, I'm just going to just put this aside and just let it set up a little bit. And then when it's cooler, it'll just spread over the top of the leek and the sweet corn a little bit better. So just give me a few minutes. Oh, this is so yummy. This cheesy sauce is lovely. Now, I probably won't use all of that on here today. So top tip, put it into like a little Tupperware container, let it go solid, and then you've got it. You can take a slice off and just put it straight onto toast with all the any other faffing around. You can just put it straight on toast and under the grill as a little snack again. So it keeps in the fridge. Also, a restaurant I used to go to, and it's a very famous dish, and I think Gary Rhodes may have done it, which was just a piece of fish, which you put a slice of the rarebit on top, shove that in the oven. Happy days. Lovely. Okay. So let's just pop this lovely lot onto the toast. As I said, it was toasted on one side. You don't need to butter it because you're about to cover it in loads of cheese, so it doesn't need it unless you just want to be, you know. Actually, the butter probably would have been quite handy to keep it sitting on there, wouldn't it? I suppose it stuck it on there. And just scatter over the top. Neatly, Lottie, neatly. Squidge down, squidge, squidge. Now, can you imagine the way I did this before, which was just with a couple of very thin pear slices sitting on top of some smoked salmon, and then you put the rarebit on top. That is really delicious too. As is this is going to be. I think this is going to be lovely. Yeah. This started off that we were going to have a tuna melt, wasn't it? And then I thought, no, let's just do something slightly different. And then I thought, oh, well, let's do it as a film. All ready in time for lunch. Okay, so this is the cheesy sauce. So I'm just going to coat this. Now I put a little pinch of, when the camera was off, I put a little pinch of smoked paprika in there. And I'm going to put a little bit more on top. Can you see how lovely and gloopy this is? So it just sits perfectly on top of your veg, but it is going to bubble up and it probably will go down the sides a little bit. So make sure, like you can see, I have tin foil underneath on top of my grill pan. We get into a terrible old mess. And there. You looking forward to this?
Very much so.
Oh.
It's good to have a healthy lunch, isn't it?
Yes, nice light lunch. Well, we'll go for a dog walk, and then we've got a hedge to trim, haven't we? Out there.
Yeah.
Got it. So we'll work it off. Honestly, we will.
Sorry, who's got the hedge to trim?
I'm not doing it. I'm too short. I can't reach up there. I'm shorty. Under the grill. Come back. Winnie's bubbling. Winnie! Look at that. Bubbling and lovely. Oh, I can't wait to get into that. That looks lovely. Do you think that looks nice, John?
Looks lovely.
Are you up for that, for dinner lunch?
What are you having?
Hedge trimming, obviously. Just the hedge trimming. Let's just take this off. Put it onto there. Can you see where I just sprinkled a little bit of smoked paprika on there as well? Just to give it a little bit of extra colour and flavour. going to be hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. Mm. That is truly delicious.